Hey you guys, welcome back to the channel. And today we're getting into the topic of a YouTube content creator by the name of DJ Akademiks. Why? Because recently it came out that he was doing something a little bit scandalous. He's a very influential podcaster, content creator who kind of dives mostly into the areas of hip hop, but also too just in modern day talking points about sometimes diving into relationship stuff, diving into just politics stuff and a few other different things. I don't really follow him like that, though I've seen him guest appear on other podcasts that I have seen before and I know of him. Now, recently, he's kind of gotten himself in hot water where he was trying to, as they use the term, I think it was like, use the term, he was trying to mold a teenage boy into grooming. I'm sorry, that's the word, grooming him into, I guess, what's the word I would use? Unbecoming behavior, I'll just say, for lack of a better word, and scandalous type of behavior. And it came off really bad. I just heard some details on it. So I just wanted to kind of touch on the topic a little bit in regards to what's going on and just kind of like, just my thoughts on general. So, as I said, it pretty much was it was a thing where he was doing some kind of stream where I don't know if they were playing games. I think that's what it was. And you know how sometimes people can play games online. I'm not too familiar with all that stuff, in detail, how all that stuff goes, but I think it's like we're playing online where you're on the computer and there's a chat and people are, I don't know how all that kind of stuff goes. But apparently in it, he starts saying stuff to the kid while the chat is viewing it, I think, and they're commenting in the chat while they're kind of live streaming and gaming, and starts saying stuff to the kid about things along the lines of, would you, have sexual or intimate relations with another guy, which one was inappropriate because the young man is a man, and that they already knew that wasn't something that he was into already. But then two, he is a minor. He's 17 years old, and in some states you're not considered a minor unless you're actually 16 and below. But nonetheless, by the general standards of popular consensus, people think of a minor as anything below 18. And so, especially coming from somebody who is over 35 years old, I'm pretty sure DJ Akademiks is over 35 years old. It just comes off in a very kind of nasty, degrading, shady way. And, we've been seeing a lot more of this stuff from famous people or people with money, influencers and things of that sort. And I think what you see happening, especially now that with social media, we're able to expose it more, is a lot of people, whether you have money or you don't, have deviant behavior, type of ways within them. Not everybody, but a lot of people might have that. But just in society, you hide it because, obviously it's illegal or, can get you in trouble or whatever the case is. And then sometimes too, people might act out those things in certain more healthier ways that are considered okay, by society's standards. So for example, an example of that would be, a guy who has a girlfriend and both of them are over 18 years old, but maybe he tells his girlfriend, I want you to dress up like you're whatever, 16 years old. It's a legal way of acting out what society would consider a deviant fantasy, or whatever. Maybe some people will mix and match with guys and girls and blah, blah, whatever the case is. But when they do it with consenting adults, it's acting out a deviant fantasy. If you want to call it that, fine, because I don't want to misuse the wrong words. Because when you're doing it with other adults, they may not consider it deviant because it is with another adult, even though what I'm getting at is the type of play might be indicative of what would be deviant behavior if it was with the actual assumed or role-playing character was real. Meaning, if someone's acting out being a child, but you're an adult, then that's kind of what I'm leaning towards. Or this wouldn't be considered necessarily deviant as well. But if there's a guy who, walks around as heterosexual, but maybe he has his girlfriend, dress up like a guy to treat him like he is a homosexual, that would be, in his mind, something quote unquote deviant in his mind, because it's something that he's not okay with in regular public. So you get the point I'm trying to make, and I don't want to offend anybody when I say any of these things. But my point is that I'm getting at is that there's a lot of people who try to act these things out in a healthy way because they know that the alternative can get them in trouble. When you have people who have a lot of money and have a lot of influence, I think what starts happening is they feel that the rules of having to do or act out these deviant behaviors in a more healthy manner, they can skip over that. They can go straight to actually doing the deviant behavior because without being checked, because they think to themselves, I am that powerful. And I think that's where you have not only obviously this scandal going on with DJ Akademiks, but you also have obviously recently in the news people like P. Diddy, and you've got, this Weinstein guy and all these other kind of people that things start coming out about. And essentially people with money and influence kind of feel that they're able to go straight to the source without actually having to water it down and make it something that's legal. And less perverted to the common census. So that is kind of where I think, of why people do it who have power, because they feel they can. But then comes the aspect of, a lot of these people, though, a lot of them sometimes have something wrong with them already before they get to that point. Because a lot of them, one thing a lot of people don't realize, and I've heard this said before about DJ Akademiks, is that he's essentially just and this is what I heard, so I'm not saying this straight from me, but I've heard that he's just like a fat, because he's not really in any kind of good shape. He's a fat, non-popular, non-good people person type of character who just pushed hard to get money. And once you have money, all those elements that made you who you are don't go away. They're still there. And if this kind of rings a bell to you, or if you've ever seen people like that, we encounter that all the time on many different scales, where someone who you're like, that person when they were younger was not that kind of person to have a really outgoing personality, weren't a people person or anything like that. And all these other elements that are flawed, but now they got money. So it's almost like this level of confidence comes that feels like they can do whatever they want, but they still haven't changed in the person they are. It's funny because I used to say that same thing about a lot of entertainers who would go, and I'm not going to name the names specifically, but the ones who would go and they date strippers and they try to have a serious relationship with strippers, and they pass along the same strippers or the same video vixen, because deep down they're that person who they couldn't talk to anybody, they couldn't attract anybody, but they weren't even like that people person, but the money and the fame allowed them access to do these things. But because they still are that socially awkward person deep down, or maybe they weren't socially awkward, but they just didn't get the attention they wanted or they felt they deserved, they gravitate to certain types of personalities that are drawn to them for what they have, because they wouldn't be able to draw them in any other way. And I'm sure, like I said, a lot of people have seen that, especially in the entertainment, in the music industry, where you have, artists who will get with a video vixen, a stripper, maybe another artist that is very just out there and very, promiscuous. And instead of just getting with someone who no one knows, or maybe, some of those strippers, no one know them at first, but they become famous because, this person wants to, those are spotlight type of people, and they want to parade the person around like, hey, I got this, even though it's kind of like, well, you got with a stripper that anyone could have paid for, because that person's just after you for the money. It's a sign of like a weak personality. And just because you got money, it doesn't change the fact that you're still that weak personality. You didn't grow out of that. And I'm sure we've all seen that. We've seen it in the celebrity world. I'm sure we all seen it with people that we know around us. And so that is kind of the character that you see when you see those kind of people who do that and whatnot, and do those kind of crazy things. They're still that kind of person. And like I said, DJ Akademiks is one of the people who I have heard before, who I've seen people speak of before, to be that kind of personality type, where without the money, without that, he would not be that kind of person. And so that's just kind of the character that comes out of you when you get power. The little, that little character inside of you that always wanted to have and wanted to be able to be in that spotlight, but never could. So as always, you guys, let me know down in the comments what you guys think. I love to expand on these talking points. Have you guys been around people like that, know people like that, seen it from a distance, whatever the case is? Were you that person at one time? Maybe you grew out of it. You're probably not going to speak on it if you are that person now. But, you know, or even if you want to open up the conversation to say, yeah, you know, I've got, I don't know if you feel comfortable doing this, but these are how I execute my deviant things in a healthy way. Me and my partner do this. We role play. We do this and that. I understand why I have to do those things, X, Y, and Z, this and that. That might go a little too deep. But nonetheless, if you want to share that kind of stuff, I'd love to have a talking point about all this kind of stuff. So as always, you guys, like, share, comment, subscribe. You guys be safe, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.